Welcome to CaCo Talks, the weekly podcast where conversations about life, hot topics, mental health, and more take center stage. We are your hosts, Catelyn and Courtney Geiger. Together, we explore thought-provoking discussions with an ambient vibe that inspires open and honest dialogue. So sit back, relax, and join us for some insightful conversation that will leave you feeling informed and inspired.
Here's part 2 of our discussion on recording arguments.
I agree.
Which I
hope she has the receipts too. I really hope she does. This person pulled out the footage. I hope you pull out the footage.
Oh, me too.
I think seeing, her perspective would make it look holistic versus just this one, because that footage vilifies the other spouse.
I don't think it necessarily vilifies.
I think it does.
I don't necessarily think it vilifies because what it does show is I think it shows that, don't be wrong, I do think that he is clearly a victim of abuse at bare minimum. Yeah. But I think it also shows the...
that doesn't mean he's not a perpetrator of it as well.
Exactly. And so I think it also shows, too, the nuance of divorce and the nuance of marriage as a whole. And the nuance in these conditions that you set for partners. And so you got to be mindful who you're marrying.
The only way to avoid this is
don't get married. That's right. Watch our video on marriage. Please, 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 please. And there's a guy whose video we watched off of Soundcloud Underbelly. Watch his video too. He's a lawyer. He talks about marriage and the different nuances of marriage. And he does a really good job of explaining if you were to get married, here's what you do, and how the system of marriage is just very archaic. So
yeah. Well, I think
Nikki and Jamie should have watched that. Oh, I said their names. Mr. Ma'am and Mrs. Sir should have watched this before.
The names are gonna stay in here now because I'm not.
It's just too many.
I'm sorry, it's too much. If they find it,
it's Nikki and Jamie. Damn it.
Yeah, it's probably public anyways. So
I mean, it is. I mean, he's already put it out there, and it's very.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He took the bite. He put the stuff out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not us. So we
just responded to it, baby. Either one of them.
And don't let us get some actual views because of it. You already know about to talk about them again and again and again and again. I'm just kidding.
Right. I'm just kidding. No, I think some people. I guess I thought about it the other day. I was like, I think one reason why I'm so hesitant on the idea of marriage and partnership in general is because we grew up understanding and seeing very viscerally and having to live our lives and around the dissolution and toxicity of a relationship between our parents. Like that's what we grew up with. And so I guess the people who are, I don't think y'all understand what the day in, day out of that dissolution of that relationship looks like and what it feels like. Especially if you only grew up in a household where mom and dad either pretended to be or were actually in this like whole happy state of relationship. And I'm like, and God forbid if it does not work out, it gets nasty. It's not fun. It's not this like idea. It's not this like amicable thing. Like you don't know who somebody is. You don't. Jamie and Nikki probably never thought when they initially got together that this was going to happen.
Yeah. And I think that's why like that video I was saying about with that lawyer, he was literally saying like, do not marry someone who you cannot see a divorce with.
Yeah.
Don't do it. And not to wish bad luck on your marriage or to, like put a spell on your marriage or anything like that. But you have to be mindful of what hex. You have to be mindful of what is to come in said relationship at the lowest of the low. And that's typically what's happening in divorce. People are at their lowest of the low. They've had enough. They're tired of you. They want out typically. You know what I mean? Like they're willing to do anything. They're desperate and they're trying to make a lot of moves to get out of whatever they're in.
Yeah.
And typically out of desperation.
Yeah. I don't see I don't know. And, I will preface by saying I'm not a married person. But
agreed.
I just don't see the love and admiration you have for somebody superseding the nasty, unfortunately.
Oh, absolutely not.
I just don't see that. I'm sorry.
Agreed. And that's why I think like in that video, he talks about love is not going to sustain anything. Like, he's like, at the end of the day, like, it's really a business contract. And if you, basically, bottom line is, if you can do business together and you can do business even when you don't want to be there anymore, then it possibly can work. But if you don't want to be there and it's just based off of love can and will fade. It will.
That, and I also think that you're, and you have to realize that people are allowed to change, and like, what would be a great partnership 20 years ago might not be a great partnership 20 years in the future. You know
On
what I
top
mean?
of like, you change as a human as you grow and evolve and experience new things. And so you have to be willing to also take that on. Now, I'm not saying that some people can't love each other and make their marriage work, because there are those people that can do that. But that's a small,
I think it's an
astronomically small number. Yes.
I agree.
And the thing is, I feel like I know a couple people from who I've met in life that are those people. I feel like, but it's in comparison of things,
it's not
out
that
of
many.
all the couples that I've seen, is literally 2. I mean, maybe 3. It's 3 people. 3 people.
Yeah.
That I would consider.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, these people are still married, from my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if we're talking about the same people, but it ain't a lot. It ain't a lot.
I think marriage should be the exception, not the rule.
Agreed.
I don't think people should be getting married as much. And it's because there's this like major stigma around if you're sleeping with someone and they're not married and you're not married, there's like a stigma with that. Or if you have children with somebody, you're not married. So, you know, that stigma will haunt people and have people making all kinds of decisions that I think are problematic. But
yeah, and to be fair, marriage is something that is highly glamorized, is very popular. It's
seen as like paradise. It's like the
end. It's like paradise. It's the pinnacle of life.
The pinnacle of something.
On top of it, for America and capitalism, it makes a lot of money. Oh my God, it makes a lot of money. The amount of money that people be like, oh, I spent this on my wedding. It's like, what, for a date? Or flowers? Or for a venue?
I'm thinking about getting into wedding videography, because people will pay you to make a video.
People will pay you for that. The amount of money that a wedding is generated is ridiculous. So, and like I said, the only thing that is returned on that is a memory. And to be fair, if you, and maybe a video, but even if, you know, you have all of those things, say you get divorced, that means nothing to you. That now you hate this person. It means literally nothing to you.
Exactly. I just think human beings change way too much, and we've got to allow people to alter over the course of their lives, and like what works for them in 2015 might not work for them in 2025.
Oh, absolutely.
You know
yeah.
And I just, because I just know how much I change. I couldn't imagine locking myself into somebody else's change.
Oh, yeah.
Not going through life together.
For real.
And
the amount of people I see getting divorced.
Like, what?
The amount of people I see getting divorced at our age, it's just like, you're already in your third marriage? Like, girly.
Or a second marriage.
Girly. Yeah, the second. They're on their, like, second right about now. Yeah. And it's like, that's not for me. That's not for me. I'm not saying that I have to be with forever, but I don't need to get married in order to divorce you. Like, I don't need to do that. There's only one condition I would ever get married under.
Bonded. You can be pair bonded.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Or domestic partnership. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Remove the stigma when you free yourself of the stigma. Mm-hmm. And all that takes is realizing that everything that glitters is not gold. Okay.
Yep.
When you start doing that.
And to be fair, the glitter and the gold is fake, baby. That's not even worth it either.
It's cubic zirconia.
Okay? Exactly. Most of the time it is not real. Trust.
Exactly. So yeah, we're not here to shit on people's marriages, but
no, for real.
We can see this.
Just educate yourself, please.
Yeah, educate yourself. And this is a prime example of a marriage gone south.
Yeah.
Which, on the internet,
is the norm. It's the norm.
Yeah, I think that's unfortunately closer to the norm. And it's like, from the outside, it's like, it's really just like, what is the opportunity cost here? Because if that's what's potentially waiting on the other end, why would I take that risk? Like, why? Like, logically, why would I jump on it? It's like jumping off a cliff, for real. Like the guy said in the video.
Into a sea of crocodiles. You know you're gonna die.
Yeah. Or it's like there's a 50% chance like I could make it. I could make it out. Okay. Cool. But there's
honestly
also
with a divorce rate, it's probably like a 25.
Yeah. It's like, you know, I don't know. It's like, I guess people are like, well, why play the lottery? Why try? And like some people say like, I guess I want to talk because people say like the career path I want to go down is like winning the lottery. That's true. But I feel like at the end of the day, I can cut my losses if shit just goes to the fan or whatever and walk out. Marriages are difficult to get out of.
Yeah. And they're costly.
and they're costly. It's like, you know, worst comes to worst, I just pack my shit up and go home.
You know how many people, like, especially like now that we have like something like TikTok, you can see more into people's lives. The amount of people that TikTok I see, and they're like, "Oh, I have to stay in my marriage because I can't afford to leave," basically, or they don't work, or they're a stay-at-home mom, and it's like, that is scary. That's a terrible feeling. I can only imagine. Like, first of all, I probably wouldn't sign up to be in something like that. Like, there's only one reason I would ever get married. And to be honest, I might do some research on that to make sure I don't have to get married. But I couldn't imagine, like, oof.
Yeah, it's scary to be in I was in a living situation where it just got really dangerous. And I can honestly tell you, I thank God every day I had the capability to just get up and leave because I wasn't tied, obviously, in any kind of relationship to these people. But I also had the financial resources to be able to get up and leave because there was my like bodily safety in harm's way. And it made me think about people, not just women, people who cannot get out of a relationship because their finances are tied to this person.
Yeah.
Their, assets are tied to this person. They have children with this person. They've like tied themselves to this human being who is now acting crazy or doing whatever,
Yeah.
Like,
and that's what I like. Part of me feels like Mr. Sir felt is that because all of his career is unfortunately based on them being a package deal.
We didn't even talk about that. But
we didn't talk about that. But he even says in the video, which was interesting. He was like, basically, like, we already know people were coming here because she's a beautiful girl and her aesthetic was everything. Which, to be fair, I think that is true. Not saying that he was an interesting person, because I think he could have been interesting if he maybe could have got out of his own head or whatever. Like, YouTube can make anybody successful, and that was what was cool about YouTube. It was like you're seeing all of these people in their real lives, or what we thought were their real lives. And so it's just,
I mean, let's not act like he wasn't gaining something from being
he definitely did
to this beautiful woman, which we had that conversation too. Maybe we'll have to do it on a different podcast or something, but I just think their relationship, they were gaining something by being with each other. Because the truth is, aesthetically, it wasn't like this person was like one of a kind. Okay, like, frankly,
I don't think either one.
And I'm not trying to talk, like, I guess I shouldn't be talking about anybody's aesthetic, but it's like nobody has to pair with anybody. Okay. So the fact that this person like also chose you for whatever reason, like, there's something else there. You know what I mean? On both ends. I'll say both ends. That's how it always appeared to me. So.
Yeah, well, I do get what you're saying, but this is my theory. I think that they both saw each other as an opportunity.
That's what I'm saying.
I think that she saw him as like, okay, you have access, because what he was doing before in his life or whatever was I guess he was just like, he was just around a good maybe I don't know if I would call them celebrities, but well-known folk. He had connects, you know what I'm saying? And she was trying to get into something where she needed connects. And so she saw him as an opportunity to get to those things. And he stopped doing that to pursue YouTube, right? To provide for their family or whatever. And then, on her end, on his end, I think he saw her as access, as far as like, she's beautiful, she's probably going to make it in this career that she wanted to be in, and he could also benefit off of that. Like, they both would provide, I guess, each other a level of access to a certain type of person, and they both did not do that. So
yeah, because I mean, realistically, I mean, if it weren't for a very specific set of circumstances, I wouldn't have seen them together. No offense. I'm not trying to be mean, but like, I really would not have seen them as like a couple.
Yeah, I think that's why people were interested in them, is because it was like, what? Like, it was part of it was kind of like, oh,
she's
really?
like, aesthetically like Naomi Campbell-esque. All right. Like could walk a runway. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you know, like regular guy, like a little swaggy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's a million one of them on the streets of LA out here. All right.
Yeah, but they're not there, so they live in a different country.
I know it's not LA, but
I don't know what the pool is there.
We don't know what the pool is there, but I'm saying the woman could have had access to probably more people. I'm not saying he didn't have access to more people, but like you wouldn't have seen them in the same circles. She's catwalk, he's on the crew, the film crew. All right.
But I think the thing is he had very nice things. And she wanted those things. And so she was willing to get with him to try to get to have those things.
Which is why it always felt like an arrangement.
Yeah, it could be. I don't think it was necessarily an arrangement. I think she was using him, and I think he was using her too. Like, I don't even think it was an arrangement that nobody knew what the fuck they were signing up for. If it was an arrangement, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Well, I think. Well, the thing is, I realize that people don't really call things arrangements. I mean, in the moment they're not like, well.
But to be fair, aren't all marriages arrangements?
They are.
That's what I'm saying. Don't
you should read my new script.
I don't know.
I'm just saying, it's all of the, no matter which way you look at it, it's like you don't, in my opinion, you don't marry someone without the like express like benefit, which is an arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
There's some sort of express arrangement for it. I mean, not arrangement, benefit that this person can provide into your life. Otherwise, why have them? That's like, I mean, I guess that's why I see singleness as like a good, or for me, it's a state that works because it's like, well, I'm not looking for anybody to come and bring me something. Just like I'm not looking to be anything to anybody else, which is what relationships kind of are.
But the thing is, you can be in a relationship and communicate those things.
Yeah,
like,
you can.
I want to be here for X and you want to be here for Y. And that's the difference. If you know what you're coming in for and you know what you can offer, then okay, cool. You can agree to disagree to be in said relationship, right? The problem comes when you have a motive that you're not communicating.
And but that's the thing. It's very difficult to sit down with someone and say, well, you know what, so and so has X amount of income, and that would be really great for me, or so and so has resources that I can use. Well, that's hard for people to swallow because it's like, well, you're using me. And it's
no,
like,
for
well,
real.
Yeah.
The thing is, I feel like some people are down for that. Go get you a sugar daddy. There's somebody out there that is willing to do that.
That's true, but look at what sugar daddy relationships are. Those are not these.
Is that not what you was doing in a relationship that you was just in married to? That's the same thing.
Well,
the only difference is you had children.
Look, hey, you're preaching to the choir. Because I think it's
so
all an economic thing.
You might as well just go get the sugar daddy. You got to have kids. You don't have to bring them along for the ride, and you don't have to sign anything.
This is what's opening up a different conversation, I think, which is a deeper issue that is beyond that video that we saw, which is the way that relationships are done under our current system, our patriarchal capitalistic system, is it's always an exchange of resources for money.
Yeah. Every relationship that you have
always an exchange.
Is always
it's rarely
an exchange.
Ever about, only anti-patriarchal relationships are ever just about connecting and community. We don't even think about relationships as far as community and connection. We think about them strictly as, what does this person also provide for me in my life?
Yeah.
There's an exchange there, but the heightened,
but even in the emotions of like
situation,
even in emotions though, yeah, even in emotions, that is still an exchange. If this person makes you happy and you make this person happy, it is still an exchange. And because the reason why it's an exchange is because the second that person's not making you happy, what do you want to go do? Leave. Get a divorce. Yes. There is no sticking into it for the long run, because when this person no longer makes you happy, there is and always will be an exchange in any sort of relationship.
I agree. I think they're all like you said, all relationships are exchanged, but take like animal relationships, for example. There's like parasitic relationships.
And
there's like symbiotic relationships. And there's a bunch of, like, there's like mutualism. There's like all kinds of different layers of relationships. The big thing that is not that differentiates their relationships versus our relationships is there is no exchange of money or really access to like status and lifestyle and all of that. You know, it's really a scratch your back, I scratch mine. You know,
pretty much. Yeah, that's what it is.
It's like
And
why you see
obviously there's some people
coyotes
who
like
luck
with
out.
rabbits or something. It's like the rabbit gets protection from the coyote.
And those, I think those relationships who can be based off of just love and things like that. That's the symbiotic, but those are very rare in humans.
Well, our society isn't structured for that, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, our society
is really not.
Our society, really, first of all, is breeding individualistic, ideologies. So it's like I don't think people even really see, for example, the benefit of marriage if they were to get into marriage, to let alone see it for what it is.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think I personally, I'll admit, I think that I lean more on the individualistic side because I just see marriage as a construct. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm not saying, and I'm not saying that that doesn't mean it's not going to work out for you. It's just like, it's hard to, under the constraints that we live under and the social pressures we live under, it's this exchange. There's an expectation when you go into those relationships.
Oh, no, for sure. And I'm not saying, because I don't personally believe in the institution of marriage. I think it is something that I think there's other things that marriage needs to be redefined in the current society that we live in. And I don't necessarily subscribe to, even if they were to necessarily make changes. Obviously, I don't know those changes, but I probably wouldn't subscribe either way, right? But I do think that, for some people, and for the people who actually are successfully married, it benefits them in some way or another. And people don't even respect that, is what I'm saying. Which is why you have... Which that may be a question for people who are married. Why, if you are still in a happy relationship, why do you stay? Just to understand, because they could have had all of these negative things and they got to a happy place. It could have just been all happy all the time. They chose to stay just because they had a family together. There's a lot of things that go into that, right? And but I don't want those people who choose to stay in that it is happy or it is what they expect out of it to be necessarily disregarded, I guess. Now, does that mean I'm gonna go do it?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Good for them, but I mean, literally, it's that. Just good for them. Congratulations, you made it.
Or we just don't see the footage.
Yeah. Not that.
We just haven't seen the footage. I'm just playing.
We haven't seen it, baby. They haven't seen it either, clearly, because boy, oh boy.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Before this, nobody knew that this couple was...
Baby. Nobody knew they were struggling like this. We were just like, oh, they're having an amicable divorce. Congratulations for them. We were like, yes, there's one for the team. They're doing it. And lo and behold, they over there beating each other up in the text messages. I'm telling you, slaughtering each other. Just bam. Baby, them text messages was rough. I was like, dang, she really going in. I don't condone abuse, but I don't know what she's been through in a personal level, whatever. But at least she was like, don't get me wrong. I don't want this to be taken as I'm condoning abuse. She was standing up for what she would and would not do. She was like, nope, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. That baby said she's not gonna get a job. She not gonna work.
Yeah.
I don't care if you sit down on the table. Oh, I'm not getting a job. I was like, okay, sis. That's crazy.
That's not my personal... I wouldn't personally do that, but I don't know. Maybe I slightly empathize with her just because I know she is a Black woman and we already get the rap. Anytime we speak up for ourselves or say anything, it's taken to an extreme. We can't just be advocating. It's always, it's this, like I said, that's why I felt like white woman tears. It's advocating for yourself is somehow also somebody else is now is being abused. That can be misconstrued. I'm not saying that Black women don't abuse. I'm just saying that that narrative has also persisted in our current culture.
Yeah, okay. I can see how that... And another thing that we have to take in consideration is they are not American. So I wonder if race is a thing as big as it is here. You know what I mean?
Maybe not.
So we are... Speaking from our perspective of living in America and being African American, not from the motherland and moving to a different country. So that I truly wonder how that plays a role in said relationship. And I hope she really hits on that, because that will determine that will be eye-opening if she hits on that personally. But I don't know if it plays as big of a factor, unfortunately.
Yeah, that would be interesting to know.
Yeah, that really would.
It's just, I don't know.
Because I don't think like white woman tears is really a thing there.
I would hope it's not, but unfortunately, as an American, I can't not see a white person complaining about a black person's behavior without sufficient evidence from the black side to corroborate that you're not just crying white woman tears.
No, I hear that, but I think that is our own biases shaping somebody else's experience, and that's why I'm giving him so much benefit of a doubt, because I'm like, there's so many other things that we are not privy to. It's first of all in their relationship, in their society, in their culture, as individuals, even as their relationship as like a couple, in the culture they've created in their culture of their relationship, that we just do not know because we are on the other side of the world, you know. So
yeah, I mean, I think I hear that. I'm just saying it just, to me, the first thing I thought was not white woman tears. Don't do that.
That's fair. That's fair.
That was the first thing I thought.
That is fair.
And it's only because
I do wonder about like the job thing, in the sense of like, it seemed like he was like hospitalized, and she was like doing some sketchy stuff behind his back, and I'm like, aren't y'all on the same team? Like, I'm confused.
I mean, theoretically,
like, you could at least fake it.
I wonder if, see, I couldn't imagine that you didn't have a conversation about her working or not working before you were actually married.
I think they did, and she just never followed up. Because from what I could see from the video, like I said, this is just what is this is speculation from.
Because I think there's a difference between what is the terms of, like, okay, like we said in a marriage contract, assuming that there was some sort of agreement. If the terms clearly stated, I will not be working, and you signed on the dotted line, and now I have to work. I'm not saying that, like, that's not. But
this is the thing from the text messages. The text messages, this is kind of like what I got from the text message. Basically, she was like, "Okay, I'm interested in this. I'm going to go pursue this," and would never finish or complete pursuing one thing or the other. And so when push came to shove, when he was like sick or whatever, he was like, "Can you finish this so that you can get, you know, a job doing this, so like I can cut back on doing some of these other things so that I can focus on my health?" And she was basically like, you're trying to force me to get a job. And he was like, "No, I just need help, like, income-wise, because my health is deteriorating." And she was just like, like, not my problem.
And that's what makes me wonder, was there some sort of term set out from the beginning?
I think from what he said in the video, he said that, like, eventually when they had kids, they would agree to, like, for her to stay home or whatever. But by then, like, the girls were already in school, so she was just hanging out at home. So he was like, "Okay, well, like, there's really no need for you to be a stay-at-home mom anymore. Like, you can just get like a little part-time job." He was like, "It don't even have to be but like a couple days a week, just like financially help out a little bit, so I don't have to like keep doing all the." I think they were still doing YouTube, but he also has like a couple part-time jobs as well.
See, I see that as
somebody wanted to be taken care of, and that's fine. Just go find somebody to do that.
I think that's not my personal ethos. I would never go into a situation where I felt like the man had to like take care of me and make sure that my life was like provided for. That's not me.
But that's why I'm saying culture.
But I feel like if you set out the terms of the agreement to begin with, and then you change the terms of the agreement,
I don't feel like the terms were changed though. I don't know. I don't feel like the terms were changed. I didn't get terms were changed. I get that, like,
I mean, did she? Nikki doesn't seem like the type she ever really was like
gonna work.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I'm like.
My baby. That's what I don't understand.
You knew what you were going to. It's like me going into Target and being like, "Let me get this Target, like, I don't know, this Target candle," and expecting it to be a Bath and Body Works candle. It's Target.
No, I agree. But here's the thing, though, because I think that, I don't know. I don't think he was trying to change her to get into, I think, like, in confidence, he's probably going to her as, like, husband and wife and being like, "Hey, I really need you right now. Like, can you step up to the plate for this moment in time?" Yeah. However, Jamie, I don't think Nikki has ever had a job. So that's not like, ugh.
Exactly. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
But you know what gets me? I wonder, does Nikki have a job now? Because it's like, you can work now?
I don't know. That's why I want to hear. I want to see her footage so bad. Like, what are you doing?
Because the thing is, she's not posting.
Exactly. That's what I'm like, what's happening? What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I'm not saying, I think in a good relationship, you would be able to go to your partner and say, you know, I'm really struggling right now. Like, maybe you can take up the slack, and the partner would be the kind of person who would want to do that. But something tells me, just like you said, that
Mama was never on that.
You already knew what kind of person she probably was. And
sure.
You married anyway, thinking that, okay, everything's going to smooth sail. But then you hit a rock. And now suddenly somebody she was expecting not to hit rocks just like you were. Was like, oh, I'm not about to do that. I can see that happening. And I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's why I say culture. How these exchanges work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why I say culture, because I wonder how much of culturally that plays into what her expectations were in a marriage.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
You know, she was from the motherland. And so I wonder is that offensive to say the motherland? I just want to know.
You got to ask them.
Let me know if that's offensive if you are of African descent only, okay? Because I don't want to be offensive. We're just going to say she's from Africa because I don't want to be offensive. Anyways, so she's from Africa. I wonder how much of her African roots and how she was raised in the specific country of Africa plays a factor into what her expectations were in her marriage, because they're raised very different. It seems like his mom and his dad, like, kind of pull equal weight from what I can tell. Like, they both kind of work. They both kind of pull, help out with everything. And then Miss Ma'am is like, I'm putting a finger into work. But what I didn't understand is why she's like, oh, I'm interested in doing this for a career. And then you're like, nah, I don't want to do it when push comes to shove. That's what I didn't understand. Because one of the things he mentioned was like nursing. If you don't see yourself working, why are you even wasting money going to nursing school?
What he was mentioning for her to go to nursing school?
No. She was in nursing school. She said that's what she wanted to do long term. Like, she wanted to be a nurse, but she never followed through on it. Like, she used, when push came to shove, like, to finish to whatever, she was like, nah.
Well, I think also their situation was like, they've got this massive brand on the internet where they are making more money than probably what a nurse will make in a year. So.
Sure. But that extra income, it's different. Like, I hate that mindset of like, oh, I'm already rich, so it's too beneath me to go get a job. It's like, baby, income is income.
I agree.
Like, especially if you're trying to keep up your facade, baby, you need the money.
I agree. I'm not saying that I personally agree with this form of living. I'm just saying I could see how someone could arrive at that conclusion. Because the truth is, if we were getting YouTube checks, I would think about going back into the office a couple times a week.
I would keep my job. I'm not even gonna hold you, and they would have to fire me. I'm gonna keep my job. I'm sorry, I'm keeping my job, and the reason why I'm keeping my job is because I need to keep a sense of normalcy, for one, and for two, there's nothing like having this extra income. Like, don't be wrong, I'm gonna have to work, and it's gonna take some time for me, and time is valuable. But when time starts becoming so valuable that I cannot share it with said job, I'm keeping my job.
Well, I will also say, I don't know, well, you don't make videos that much, but I will say the way that they were pushing out content was a full-time job. So it was probably either or situation. Like, they're recording their lives every day.
This man was out there working a couple part-time jobs, so that's why I'm like, what?
So
clearly it wasn't cutting it. Clearly it was not cutting it. He was working. He was doing YouTube, and he also had some part-time jobs. He said he's had like 2 or 3 part-time jobs.
Okay. See,
so that's why I'm like,
this is another thing that gets me is like, I felt like they were, in my opinion, sort of parading as if.
Oh, they was faking the phone for sure.
Yeah, like, and that's what makes it very. When we start uncovering the truth about them, it makes it like, I sort of don't believe you, but I sort of do, because like it feels like they were
not. Yeah.
What's real was not, because it's like on YouTube. Everybody thought they were just getting them YouTube checks.
Right? It was like, y'all making good money. Like, the appearance was great. They kept that facade up, baby. They kept that facade up.
Exactly. And the thing is, the facade made them money. So it was in their best interest to keep that facade.
I'm like, y'all better keep on fucking fasading and get your money, because.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, and maybe that's the difference with entering that space, is like, it's a performance. It's a performance for the camera daily.
I wonder if that's why they stay married. Like, you wonder if they would have got a divorce earlier if they wasn't for YouTube. I think they would have.
Maybe. I can see that. It just calls everything into question, because it's like, on the one hand, I mean, they live in a like hypocritical state, right? Like, on one hand is, well, we want to be authentic and be real and have these, real connection, blah, blah, blah. But on the other hand, I'm putting it on the internet daily to make money, as if like parading around as if this is authentic. And it's not.
And on top of it, I have
Like, that's the
a
conflict.
whole other couple of jobs to support this.
Yeah. So it's like they're selling a vision of themselves that's not
even real.
Totally authentic. And it's like, that's the trouble of
social
and
media.
That to me is where the manipulation of the footage can come into play.
But I think that's
what they do.
like, that's the trouble with something like social media. Social media is always selling something that you choose to portray or not, right?
Exactly.
So,
that's why
but I think in the terms of like abuse and things, like in recording footage in that way, that is always going to be a gotcha. Always going to be a gotcha to somebody involved. And so I still think you should record.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't record. I'm just saying we need everybody's recording, because we know that their bread and butter was
if
what.
you see this, come on now. Come on with the juice.
Come with the footage
come
and
on
the receipts, because
we're taking your sweet little time.
If it's going to be a gotcha, they know more than anybody else what it means to manipulate footage to make something look a certain way.
Oh, baby.
That's what they do for a career.
Yeah,
so and that's why I guess when I saw that video, it just felt like the pot calling the kettle black. Because I'm like, Jamie, you participate in this. You do this did this for a living with this woman. So y'all were in bed, and you're sitting here now. Suddenly, it's all her fault. It ain't all her fault, sweetheart.
I don't think it's all her fault. Yeah, I will agree with you. I do wish he would have taken a little bit more accountability in his wrongdoing in the relationship too, because I think that would have helped his credibility.
His argument. It would have helped his argument.
Yeah.
Because it felt to me like, okay, I'm gonna it's like Jamie, it's Nikki. And it's like, Jamie, you picked up a camera too, sweetheart. You married this woman too. You have family with her too. Y'all both decided what you were gonna share and not share.
I was talking to Mom about this, and came to the conclusion that the real, me and Mom were talking about this because me and Mom both watched him, and we came to the conclusion that what really sucks is like the kids, like they have to see this.
The kids are the ones who
that's
suffer.
really who takes the biggest L, because to me, more than anything, this is clearly an ego fight. This is an ego fight on both ends. Not what's best for the kids. And the kids always end up losing and having to deal with the problems because y'all had an ego fest to see who could have the greatest, who could win out of the ego fights. So unfortunately, the poor babies.
Not to mention, the kids didn't even consent to their image being used in that footage.
Yeah, and them profiting off of it.
So that's another layer of, I hate to say it, and these things are starting to come out now where influencer families, the kids are suing their parents.
Yeah,
because they're like, you put me in this footage, I didn't consent to it, and you kept all the money. Where's the money?
Yeah.
The kids are a part of the performance.
Oh, for sure.
So I think that's another layer added onto this that I think they haven't even fully addressed that, because their kids are probably underage. But I think that's another thing that has always been a little sketchy to me, is like, you got your two little girls out here, I don't know.
And I think too, like another thing that I don't really think was considered is like, I don't know about where they live, but in America, like, first, I would be scared to show my kid on social media. Like, I'm telling you, as a kid would never see, like, no one would ever see if I had a kid on social media, because the way sex trafficking works and child exploitation works, oh my God. And you're just readily providing it so you can make a check. Like, if you can't do it on your own, which my thing is, Nikki and Jamie were very successful before, you would not see my kid's face. When I tell you I'm pulling a Kerry Washington, we don't know what her kids look like. We don't know their names. We don't even know if the images that she has released, if those are even her real kids. Like, we know nothing about Mama's life. Nothing. It's outside of what she does in, the real world.
The media, yeah.
Yeah. In the media.
I don't know. Jamie, he put up a good performance. That's all I'm going to say from that video. That's what it felt to me. And it could be very much rooted in truth. I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying we need to see both players before we can make full, wholehearted, this is who was doing XYZ, because I can guarantee you Nikki is coming with a different story.
Oh, for sure. And I'm ready for it. I'm telling you, I'm going to get my popcorn ready. I'm going to get my tea ready, my chips, my sandwich. It's gonna be a whole. Honestly, we should just have a mini Cheetah Girl party again. You know what I'm saying? Because this tea is about to be popping. Obviously, because neither one has said anything up until this point. So, and Nikki seems like she's like raging with the
I
fact
could see her
that
raging, because I'm
James.
like, especially if you feel like this was only one part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I could see you being enraged.
Oh, for sure.
You know.
No, I can see that, and I guess because it seems like they maybe also agreed to not have it on social media.
At least some sort of unspoken agreement. I don't know if they had an actual
I don't
agreement.
know if it fully
But
like legal or anything.
if there was an actual verbal agreement, or like maybe an illegal agreement that they would not put this out there, and he did it anyways.
Yeah. Ugh.
I'm just saying, I could just see this skewing the image so hard.
Yeah.
It's not the full story.
I think they're both going to end up losing in this. That's the thing.
I agree too. I agree.
They're both going to end up losing.
Agree.
So.
I think that is the unfortunate danger of this new reality of influencer life, is as quickly as you got up there and you got people's attention, that's just as quick as you can come down. And
the thing is, they should have known. Like, you know how many couples have done this? Like, oh my God! Like, did y'all not take notes?
Seriously. Yeah, seriously. That's why I find not to toot my own horn, but that's why I really found the concept behind clout very interesting. Was like, what is put out and how we, the consumers, are also participating in this relationship between what they are putting out. Because truth is, in order for them to even have that status, we have to watch. So what is it about me that is also okay with this? You know? And I think same thing for this couple is like, what was okay about watching this kind of arrangement happening? Was it just because they lived a lifestyle, they lived a sort of like semi-fabulous lifestyle that maybe we didn't feel like we had access to? Or was it because of the, like, maybe the interracial, the kind of exoticness of it? I don't know, because there's so many couples who do this, you know, and it's like, why are we so interested in watching other people's, quote, happy lives that we eventually find out down the line was never really that happy? And it's always, that's the same narrative. It's like Will and Jada.
I'm not gonna hold you. I mean, to be honestly, the reason why I watch is for Nikki's aesthetic. I really enjoyed her aesthetic. And I enjoyed like her like home interior design, things like that. That's why I watched it. But come to find out, a lot of those homes were their homes. Yeah, somebody else designed it. So.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what gets me is I'm like, these people are participating in a performance and they're putting on an aesthetic that they know will sell to people. Though it's not real.
Yeah,
it's not real. Like, I would venture to say, once people reach a certain status of influencer level, maybe it starts out as an authentic thing that gets bigger. But once you start with the production value, and you got, I'm in this country this week and I'm in this place that week, it becomes a performance. We're watching TV. We're not watching a real couple. These are real people who are cosplaying as I don't want to say the American dream, but like this ideal couple. It's almost like, it's like what the goal of reality TV was. We'll take real people, quote, real situations, and then just make that drama. But it's all constructed.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
And you can say, no, constructed doesn't have to be coming out of Hollywood. Constructed can be in my backyard. It's still constructed, and that's how you have to look at things. And I just know I see everything that way because, like I said, anytime there's a camera involved, I'm thinking somebody put this together. And that's because I know how much I put together whenever I do shoot things. It's never just pointing a camera in a general direction. I'm like, what about the lighting? What am I wearing? How am I wearing it? What time of day is it? You know what I mean? It was like 85 things that I've already thought about before I even press record. So I have to imagine that they make their bread and butter off of this. That they have to be constructing something.
I mean, maybe like in the beginning, it didn't start out like that. Maybe it just turned into that when they had to it's kind of like when you start making more money, you now have a life to maintain. And so now it's like, okay, now we have to start constructing things because now we have a lot more at risk of losing if we don't construct. Because I don't know if it started out like that, but that's kind of why I stopped watching, because it was just like, this is not giving what it used to give.
Yeah, I think it probably did. Most of the time, those things start out from an authentic place, and we're just showing our lives and whatever. But once it becomes its own, once you get 10, 20, 30,000, 30, 40, $50,000, not thousands, followers, and, you're in the hundreds of thousands of followers and you're producing content daily, people's everyday lives are not content that's going to grab somebody's attention. It's like, I got up this morning and showered, but they are keeping an audience engaged because that's what keeps them paid.
Mm-hmm.
It's really no different than what like studios do. They're keeping the audiences engaged by producing fictional content.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
This is just different because it's on YouTube. Now it's a different platform, and there's a different culture surrounding it. And actually, I consider YouTube more insidious because YouTube cosplays as reality. At least, a studio is like, this is fake. Like, I pay my movies, I pay my ticket, sit in the movie theater. It's fake. YouTube cosplays as if this is somebody's real life. So it's hard to differentiate reality from fiction.
I think that's the hard part about YouTube, though, because I think it starts out as reality, and then I guess it becomes fiction. Kind of like the Kardashians, right? It started out as like, oh, was really reality when it first came out, and slowly but surely it has become very scripted.
Mm-hmm. Now to the point that it's almost unrecognizable. It's really interesting. There's a I forget what it's called, but there's a philosopher or something. It's called simulacrum, where there's a theory with culture that something starts out as an original, like they took the Jenners, like Kylie's original face before plastic surgery. Then it becomes she starts to alter it, and as that gets popular and popular, eventually the alteration replaces the original. So we don't even see, as it continues to be replicated over and over and over again. Now, the Kylie Jenner's face that we know now, like, replaces whatever the original was. They're not even the same. Because we continue to consume it over and over and over again. And I call it simulacrum. I hope I'm saying that right for people who know that theory. But it's just like, it's like what mass culture and mass media does. Is whatever, her original lips are not her lips. That's not even Kylie.
Fair.
Kylie is now this like avatar other being. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's still Kylie, though. That's what I don't get.
She is still the person, but her image is replicated over and over and over and over again. So much to the point that they're almost like, they become, one replaces the other. That's basically what the theory is saying. I hope I'm saying this right. I could be just saying this wrong and confusing people, but it's called simulacrum. Let me look it up actually right now. Let me define that for people, because I think YouTube culture has started to get there. It's not totally there yet. There's like a process to it. Okay, simulacrum is defined as an image or representation of someone or something. So a small scale simulacrum of a skyscraper. But basically it's the idea that like once it continues to be like replicated over and over and over again, the original gets displaced. So the original doesn't exist in our minds really anymore. Kind of weird to think about. Yeah, it's by the philosopher Jean Baudrillard. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, look it up if you ever get a chance.
Anywho, do you have anything additional to add to today's episode?
No, I think that's mostly it. I mean, we definitely got to see this marriage dissolving has brought up so many other questions and thoughts and ideas about what marriage is. What does a relationship look like? What does it look like on the media? In media, should we be recording each other? Yeah, so all those things are like interconnected, or at least, it brings up different ideas. So I'm just interested, like I said, I want to just know Nikki's side of the story. We're not here to say that Jamie wasn't abused, as he has, alleged. So we're not here to refute that, but we like to know the truth. The full, I don't want to say just the truth. We want to know everybody's side. And then we'll determine what was probably the truth.
Fair enough. Yeah, we do appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching. We probably will end up doing not a reaction, but like some sort of we'll take something probably from the mom side of things, the woman's side of things, and see what that produces. But yeah, this was actually an interesting conversation. There was a lot of thought-provoking notes from someone's divorce, someone's demise, right? I do hope they can get it together for the babies, because it's messy. But yeah, I guess we'll see in a couple of maybe weeks or days or months. Who knows how long she'll take to respond.
Yeah. So yeah, I know she was pissed.
Yeah, I know that post she made on Instagram was like, you better be quiet, Jamie, because seeing that post that she posted, I'm not gonna hold you. It made me. I could see the abuse. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I could see.
I didn't read it. I haven't even read it, but
no, she took it down. It wasn't like her story, so it's gone. But
okay, it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. I'm sure somebody has it screenshotted, but I was like, I could see, because she came with the quickness and the harshness, baby. I was like, okay. But yeah, anyways, we will see you guys, I guess, in the next one, or maybe whenever this one drops. Hopefully it drops soon. Hopefully.
Hers is gonna be like 2 hours long.
Oh, I hope it is.
It's gonna be like itemized.
I want to watch every minute.
PowerPoint, a presentation.
It'll be aesthetically pleasing, that's for sure.
It'll be like Professor Nikki up there, like, and on June 13th, 2013, at approximately 11:59 a.m.
Oof, yeah. I'm not gonna hold you. That's gonna be interesting. That's probably what she's doing, gathering her receipts right now. So
yeah, which is like, if you weren't, I don't say you weren't telling the truth, but if you weren't totally accountable and these things come out, this is not going to be a good thing for you, bruv.
I don't think it's going to be a good thing for either one. Because I think, to be fair, like, Nikki's going to be reacting straight out of, like, anger. So it's going to be like, I don't think either one's going to be good, to be honest.
Which is why I'm like, I don't think this was not the platform to do that on.
I mean, I agree.
Because I don't think it's going to solve. It's anything. Not going to solve anything, but it's really just opening up the floodgates for, like, more. What if he's doing just to
get followers back and watching? Maybe that's what he's doing.
And if you are, that's cheap.
I mean, I think so, but clearly he's desperate, so he's not above.
I guess so. Well, I thought you was working part-time jobs.
He said he's doing Uber right now. I think he's embarrassed. I don't know. Let me not speak for these people. I don't know. But either way, we appreciate you guys watching, and we hope that you tune in next week to see what we are posting then.
Yeah. Also, just disclaimer, thoughts and opinions are our own. We don't, we obviously don't know them personally. This is just what we have gathered from our own observations.
Yes, and please go watch the video if you're really inclined to know, because our recounts of things can be a little off. So this is just what we thought about after watching the video. Also, too, we do not condone abuse. So we don't want to hear that.
We
do not condone abuse, period. We are just discussing what was at hand, and that is that. So we do appreciate you guys for watching, though. So
I hope we made that clear, because we did have some kind of not argument, but we had a difference of opinion about whether things should be recorded or not. But like we said, we just want to make sure that neither one of us were supporting abuse. We were just saying, how do we go about proving abuse? happened. Evidence, and what does a personal versus private relationship look like, and like those were the questions, not whether someone should be excused for abuse or not. So just so you know.
Agreed. Well, we appreciate you guys for watching. We hope that you tune in next week, and we hope you have a good week.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye guys.